Hi everyone, this is Susan with Type A Essays, where I help students craft powerful and persuasive essays for the Common App and the University of California. Today, I want to talk to my high stats high school students who are really looking to apply to top 30 and other very competitive universities when they hit their senior year. So often I talk to students who qualify academically, having a very rigorous course load and very good test scores, and they want to be very aggressive in their applications to elite schools that are very difficult to get into. And they come to me and they say, Susan, how can I develop a spike in my personal profile? How can I boost my profile to stand out to admissions officers? So let's talk about that today. First of all, to develop a spike, there's two ways to do it. The first way, you can argue, might be the harder way, and that is to simply have a demonstrated track record of elite performance in a particular area that you're involved in. We're certainly talking no more than 5% of students in any particular area. And I think any student out there watching can kind of remember and think about kids that they know who have gone on athletic scholarships or gone to elite STEM schools or art conservatories or music conservatories, and there were very, very, very few and far between, and they really had an elite level acknowledged and recognized talent in their particular area of focus. So if you fit into that category, absolutely that's what you build your personal profile around for your college applications, and there's some great ways to do that. If you do not fit into that area and you are looking to boost your profile and build some element of a spike in a different way, it is up to you to define your own project to be excellent. And to do that, I am here to tell you, you will need to step outside of the high school ecosystem and create your own ecosystem in which you alone define success and define excellence and then accomplish those. Now, why do we have to go outside the high school ecosystem? The fact of the matter is that the high school ecosystem offers some super compelling benefits. There are so many opportunities for leadership. There are clubs and organizations where you can investigate a lot of different interests. You can get involved in theater, music, athletics. There's a host of things that are appropriate for the vast majority of students to develop their personal profile and investigate a lot of different things that they may be interested in. And that's wonderful. If, however, you have the academic background and the interest and the desire to really kind of step beyond that and look at what very elite schools are looking for, you're going to have to create your own project. Now, some people call this a passion project. I am not a big fan of that term. Why? Because many students don't have a set of passions or have a singular topic that they have developed that deep of an interest in when they are 16, 17, even 18 years old. And that is okay. So I always try and reinforce the idea that it's perfectly acceptable to simply pursue an interest, something that you may have been introduced to in school or through your family activities, through your community work, through a volunteering project, and you decide to make that an interest you would like to dive into even deeper. A best practices model that I like is to pursue something in the social justice realm and get involved in an established organization that supports that and try to make some meaningful impact through that organization. The second thing is to do something that impacts disadvantaged or underserved people in your community. And again, I encourage you to get involved in an organization or through an organization that is already established. These things take many, many different flavors depending on your location, your background, your personal interests, what organizations exist in your particular region, but there are interests to meet every need you could possibly have outside of the high school ecosystem. But the biggest thing I want to talk about is the concept of building your own passion project that you yourself define and execute. Hands down, the best model and the simplest model to do this with is the model for the Girl Scout Gold and the Boy Scout Eagle Scout Award, both of which are the top leadership award, national leadership award for those organizations. And the model in its simplest form is this. The student has an interest area. They reach out to a community organization that is already established to meet the needs related to your interest. And you contact them and you create a plan of something to make an impact to the people they're already serving. And then you execute that plan and you have a deliverable that goes out into the community. So what does this demonstrate? It demonstrates you can speak to adults and make contact in a professional organization that exists in the community. It demonstrates that you can put together a project management and timeline and sometimes budget. And it demonstrates that you can execute to goals that make an impact in the community. And even beyond that, the most important thing is that because you're working with an established community organization, you inherently have the credibility that is affiliated with that organization. So in many situations, students who define a personal project with an outside organization find that it's very easy to connect other nodes of evidence in their existing student life to support the interest that you went out and did a project on. I always advocate for one evidence node to be academic. So for example, if you were doing something involving plant life or native plants or food scarcity or something related to the growing of produce, you could connect that back to topics and subject matter that were learned in high school STEM classes, be it AP Environmental Science, certainly biology, as well as different humanities classes. So it could also tie into economics and the economics of growing food and delivering food to a population in an economically sustainable way. There are a myriad of ways that students can approach this and have their academic profile support the development of a spike that is initiated through a project with an outside community organization in your own ecosystem. The other thing I always suggest to students is you consider reading a fiction or nonfiction book related to the topic of that project that you can reference in your Common App and University of California Apps essays. It is very powerful to demonstrate that you are reading for your own intellectual enrichment and development about a particular topic. And it's very easy to execute. Most high school students are skilled readers and can rapidly digest material in a book. So it's very helpful even in the summer while you're doing your fun activities. Take a minute when you're sitting outside and dive into a book that supports that subject matter so that you can make brief references to it as part of your personal journey to become knowledgeable and impactful around this topic of interest. The other thing I want to touch on briefly is at the beginning I said that I did not like the term passion project, but it's a bit of a generic term that many people in the education community use. So I did use it here today. But what we're really talking about is developing an interest in things going on around you and developing the skill set and the tools to make an impact on something outside of you and your high school world. Those are powerful, powerful skills that are highly desired on college campuses. So you don't need to have a passion per se. And I did already say that you just simply need to work from a position of an interest. And even beyond that, it doesn't even need to be a primary interest. It can be an interest right now. You are not locked into keeping that interest for the rest of time. It is something that you're investigating and diving into as a high school student at this moment of time. And it is 100% perfectly acceptable to then choose to move on to another area of interest that you'd like to pursue, if in fact you would. So don't be overwhelmed with picking a topic that you might want to consider for a spike-oriented project in the community. It does not need to be a deep-seated passion, and it does not need to be something that you are committing to even through high school, beyond high school, and even through college. And it does not even have to be related whatsoever to your major. It simply needs to be something to demonstrate academic interest, wanting to help your community, and wanting to investigate and learn and develop your mind around something different than what you're doing inside that high school ecosystem. So for a lot of links related to Girl Scout and Boy Scout projects to give you some ammunition to think about different ideas, check my website under free resources, typeaessays.com, or drop a question below in the comments and I will do my best to answer it or give an opinion or point you in the right direction to get the information that you seek to develop your own personal spike. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.